Before you throw the jig, you have to have a setup. What kind of setups do we use? I'm going to start with Casey. What is your main setup, and do you have a backup setup depending upon? And think about it like this. Let's talk open water. Let's talk brush pile fishing, rock fishing, and let's talk heavy cover.
So I'm gonna talk Highland Reservoir, rock points, rock humps, and brush in that area code. When I'm in these Highland Reservoirs that are around here, Allatoona, Lanier, everything up north, Notley, Chateau, Blue Ridge, all of that. I don't have the NRXs. I have one NRX. It's in my crawl space. I don't even touch it.
Yeah.
What's the one that's the green one, Farmer? The GLX? Is that what it is?
GLX.
I have a GLX. I've had it for a little while. I also, right when I started with the club I fished with, me and my partner, we happened to win it's a Mojo. It's 6'8", and I have a hyper mag on that one. And if I want to come through brush or I really want to feel everything, that's the rod that I pick up, and it's a medium heavy 6'8" Mojo. And because I can step on it when I'm setting the hook on a fish and I'm stumbling because the waves are coming through, or you're stepping backwards. And how many times have y'all broken eye, trying to land one or set a hook on one? That thing is durable. But my GLX, whenever I grab a hold of it, I'm 99.9% I'm going to get that fish to the boat. When I set the hook on that Mojo, the GLX is medium heavy, and it's a 6'9", and the other one's a 6'8". I'm a shorter guy when it comes to the boat. I try to get up under there. I can't do the 7'1". I wish I could. Yeah. But just the confidence isn't there.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that about the length of the rod. We're going to get right into that here in a few minutes.
But that GLX, it's just got that little bit more of a backbone that when I stick them, and if I can stay with them, I got a BB1 Pro on that one. And it's the one that's the wider one, not like the first BB ones. It's got, and that thing right there has been flawless for years. But in my hyper mag on my other one, it's hard to beat keeping up with those fish and coming through that brush like that. Like instead of looking like a crawfish, I'm a brim. And I'm a brim popping through there. And if the 4-pounder wants to eat me, which I wish he would all the time, I would love that. But I have more confidence when I have that GLX a little bit stiffer, because when you grab medium heavies and different brands, I don't care what brand it is you buy, they're going to have that little bit different action to it. When I stick one with that GLX, it stays there. That other one's got a little bit more play to it, but when they're just wanting to nip at it, it's kind of the key rod. That GLX, I'm like, dang, they just bit my tails. Pick my other one up. They keep doing the tail biting thing, and I'm setting the hook to air. No, they'll have it. But you got to be sure to fight them the right way. And that's kind of to where that old Gerald Swindle slack line has to leave you. You kind of got to give it that hard lean and just start to reel, try to keep the rod tip down.
Damn, he's there.
Because right now they're like anybody, I don't know if anybody can say that they fished Monday night last week, but every fish that I hooked, they all went to gymnastics class because they come out of the water doing backflips, every single one of them. And I talked to multiple people that said that they hooked into 10, 7, 4 fish before they put one into the boat, doing the same thing. It blew my mind.
Any other setups that you got?
Those are my main two.
Those are your main two?
Of course, whenever it comes to Gunnersville, Chickamauga, in the grass,
that's why I asked, because I know you go there.
Yeah, we're gonna be heavier. A lot heavier. Say you get into that half-ounce football, you're snapping it through the grass. That type of stuff. Then I'll go with a 7.4 heavy, 7.6. And grab a hold of something to where I can bone them and try to pop it through that grass. But 9 times out of 10, if I'm throwing that, there's also going to be a chatterbait on the same medium heavy GLX.
Right.
And I'm going to be snapping it through there. So there's kind of that fine line. It depends on how they're biting. If they're chomping you, get the heavy out. Let them have it.
Yeah.
But if you're having a hard time with it, when it comes to the jig, you're having a hard time with it, back it off a little bit.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised.
Pound test line, last thing before we move on to farmer.
1/4 ounce. A lot of people think I'm crazy, but I'll throw it on 12, but I make sure my drag's there, and my retying is religious.
How often do you retie?
With 12-pound, you like Buddy Brett that fishes the club with me. He catches one, boom, I mean, he don't have time. He's immediately retying. He is not losing a 4-pounder on the next cast just because he was lazy in his mind. 12-pound test, I'm retying every single time. 15, I'll put you a limit in the boat. And then I look at it and I'm like, all right,
Yeah.
I get to feel in the line. I'm like, okay, don't be lazy, clip it off of there, retie, do your thing, or pick up another one. Cause I normally have, like I said, 4 of them tied on there.
Farmer, what's your rod and reel setup?
Depends on what I'm fishing. Me and you fish a lot of similar. We fish similarly.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a shallow guy. Love to stay shallow, so I'm fishing the heart of laydowns. I'm fishing under docks. Most of the time, I'm throwing a 7.3 heavy with 17 to 20-pound test to pretty much cross their eyes and bring them out.
Yeah.
Now, if I'm out offshore fishing brush piles, I'll fish a 7.6 medium heavy.
So you definitely go for a longer rod because you're using even longer rods than I use.
Well, we're right there at the same height.
But you're still using a longer rod than me.
Yeah. Well, I use a 7.3 for skipping, 7.3, 7.4.
Yeah.
When I skip, but a 7.6, I like a 7.6 when I'm offshore because it gives me that little extra when I pull back. And I'm sure everybody's noticed it when you pull back on it. You're in deep water, you're 25, 30 foot plus. When you pull back, sometimes that rod will end up back here before you actually get that line tight.
Mm-hmm.
So now I've got an extra couple inches. So when I reel down on that fish and set the hook, I'm still right here in position to fight that fish. I'm not back here trying to do this number to catch back up to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Pound test line? I know you're heavy.
Beautiful day. Beautiful day.
He throws a broomstick. I do.
Well rope. Yeah.
So is it the pool cue when you got to finesse them, Farmer?
Yeah, it's pure cool when I have to finesse fish. But if I'm fishing fishing offshore, fishing a finesse jig, it's 12 to 15-pound test. If I'm fishing a full size 3/8 or a half ounce in cover where I'm close quarter combat, it's 17-20.
Yep. Same here.
Heavy. I like it. So for me, I have 2 setups. That's just me. We didn't talk about gear ratios, but we'll get into that.
8-1 to 1 or higher.
This is the reason why we made this table.
quarter ounce 07.
Yeah, well, yeah.
07, 5 to 1.
My primary setup, whether I'm skipping docks, throwing in blowdowns, fishing brush, rocks, points, humps, don't matter, whatever it is. It is a 7'1" medium heavy extra fast rod. I have I do not skimp on the reel. I use a lot of $100 to $150 reels on a lot of my other setups, except for my jig setup. The only Shimano reel I own is on my jig rod. That is the only Shimano reel that I own. And I know a lot of people like Shimano, but I'm an A.B.A guy at heart, and I pretty much have mainly A.B.As and some Lew's. But my jig reel never changes for me. It's a Shimano. They have the best. They have the best drag. They have the best castability, smoothness, and they're built to hold up under the pressure of how hard, at times I'll set the hook. And I think all three of us sitting here at the table, I think we absolutely try to cross their damn eyes every time they bite. There's nothing funner than crossing their eyes. But that's my main setup. And then I have another setup for grass type lakes like Chickamauga, on up that way, around grass. And it's just a 7.6 heavy, extra fast rod. And my gear ratio stays the same. It's 7.3 to 1. That's pretty much where I stay. I don't get up into 8.1 to 1 because you lose power with 8.1 to 1. And I like the 7.3 to 1, stay there. And I'll throw anywhere from 12-pound straight fluorocarbon all the way up to 20-pound fluorocarbon, and even braid if I get in the grass. So 65-pound braid, nothing less. If you're throwing anything less, you're cutting yourself short, in my opinion. Was outside of 65-pound braid. So